Hello, hello, hello! Before I get too excited, I want to make sure that it is working. It appears to be working on YouTube. So yeah, let's get started. Hello, this is Érika, and I am here very excited to tell you that Nomad Sculpt is now out for the PC and for the Mac as well. I am using a PC, so I'm just gonna be playing around. This is just a very casual sketching session I'm gonna be doing. Don't expect anything amazing. It's probably gonna be kind of crap and kind of slow because I work very slowly. I edit the videos to make them look like there is I don't know, a faster pace, because life is fast in the internet and it's actually really boring to watch how I work. But here I am. Maybe you won't find it as boring. Let me just switch my screen to... Here we go. Let me know where you are watching from. I would love to hear who's around. And yeah, Nomad in all its glory for the PC. I lost my stylus. Here it is. I'm using a Wacom Cintiq, an old Wacom, but it's quite good. I've gone ahead and done a little bit of just like getting a feel of the program on the PC, and it feels very similar. I've changed a few of the shortcuts, the bindings here. Most of them were very similar to ZBrush, which is what I use normally on the PC, so that helps me a lot because otherwise it breaks my brain. And some mini adjustments to the UI and to the pressure in my pen, so it feels natural. This model that you're seeing is a default that comes here. If you go into add, it just has this head Mistella. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but yeah, just gonna get rid of it. I just needed something for the thumbnail of this video. But let's see how it feels. What is a Nomad? And what I'm gonna be sculpting is my most beloved dog. Let me show you real quick. My pure ref. I want to get something in the style of these illustrations that I made for last year for a talk that you can find also here on YouTube. And here's some photos of her. Look, she's so pretty! And some other cool images that helped me with the breakdown. I found this on Pinterest. She is right behind me, slipping under the sun like the silly pup that she is. What a lovely dog. So let's get started here. This is too much topology for my likes. And what I'm gonna do is reverse this so we have less stuff to work with. This looks good. Gonna go I'm gonna try to shape this. Yeah, I'm still feeling a bit clunky with these shortcuts, but should be alright. She'll be alright. I'm gonna try to get this skull. Ugh, it just looks weird. The skull, it's just a little bit flatter at the center. Not as perfectly round. I'm gonna add yet. Do I want a cube? Maybe I want a cube. But I want way less topology. The UI is basically the same as what is there on the iPad. There's a few things that feel slightly clunky, that feel very iPad-like, but it doesn't feel right yet for a PC, but it's fine because it was just released. And you can see at the bottom, that way, in that corner, that is a link where you can buy Nomad. It is, from memory, $35 US, which is a very decent price if you ask me, considering that ZBrush is way more expensive. Yeah, a little squeeze. The masks seem to work like masks, normal. Yeah, so far I haven't found anything really different. I think it's just the very same thing as the iPad, except the feel is slightly off. It doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't feel just like the Apple Pencil, but that is fine. We'll get used to it. I'm very excited. I'm gonna use this so often. I been using a lot Nomad at work, not every day. Most of the work I do is on Blender for the characters that I'm doing, but I do the hair of the characters. It's a lot of polygonal hair characters. They're somewhat stylized, well, fairly stylized to be honest, and it is very useful, the tube tool. I don't like any other tool to make hair. I've tried the Blender curves. They're alright, but they're still slightly clunky to move around on 3D. So I don't love them. I much rather use Nomad. It's so easy. Alright, we got an egg for our pop. Oh, it's very difficult to hear me when I look at my screen. Thank you for letting me know. I'm gonna get the microphone closer. Hopefully this helps not cover my face too much. Let me know if this improves. Alright, I'm just looking around at my reference. Yay, it improves. Thank you so much for letting me know. Okay, more poppy sketching. It's clear when I look at the camera. It's this setup is slightly annoying. Like to try to get the Wacom in a comfortable position, and then to for the camera to be able to see me. But yeah, I am not used to live streaming. I am very clunky at it. Don't you worry. It's nice to see you, hear you, read you. It's nice that I'm not, it doesn't feel like I'm talking alone anymore. Even, where are you from? And I apologize also if I say your name wrong. Your username, it says that you make games. Tell me about those games. What sort of games do you make? This is still not quite great. I like this shortcut for making the brush bigger and smaller. That's cool. I'm not feeling very much in control of it, but I will eventually. I wish there was something like that in ZBrush. Maybe there is. I don't know. If there's a ZBrush user watching that knows, please let me know. Now, something that I quite don't get right so far is the intensity pressure. I've tried to fiddle around with my tablet to increase the pressure when I'm using Nomad, but it feels very, very faint. So faint. Okay, what am I gonna do now? I'm gonna maybe block in the eyes. Gonna use a quad sphere. Yeah, this iPad UI, it feels a little bit too far away in the screen. Like I need to reach around with my arm, and it's clunky. But it's a good thing that now I have hotkeys. Especially with this microphone. If I just go around the screen, I'm gonna hit it, and I want to save you from that. Alright, puppy eyes. Here we go. Will I keep them browned? No, I don't think I want them browned. I want to reduce that topology. Whoop, 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 whoop. make them a little bit sad because it's a puppy with puppy eyes that is trying to get all the free food. Maybe something like this, lower in the face, try to get a bit more of that cute factor. Cool. Alright, maybe let's subdivide this. It might help me get a bit more of the shape right. I don't want to get too excited subdividing things. Whoop whoop whoop. Whoop whoop whoop. Oh, this smooth is weird. Alright, slightly better, maybe. Get a bit more of that shape. I think it grows like at the base. So let me get some X-ray. I am gonna do a mask. I like the shortcuts for the mask. That is very nice and useful. Pivot, I wish there was a shortcut for that. That's slightly better. We'll mask a bit more. What? Yeah, I do definitely need a shortcut for pivot. I need to see if that is something I can set up. There are a lot of things I can set up, honestly, so I am not terribly worried about it. And delete mask. Okay, cool. I'm gonna squish this down a little bit. Ah! Yeah. The tablet feels a bit sticky. Like, I already clicked out of something and it continues being clicked. That's weird. It might be my tablet thing, not necessarily a Nomad problem. Sometimes my Wacom gets silly. Just making sure I am looking at the chat in case there is more happening there. Do apologize if I get distracted. I am a very distracted person by nature. Okay, I'm gonna get those dog cheeks. I'm missing some volume here, maybe. I wanna get a little bit of the shape here on the forehead. It feels very experimental. I'm not feeling terribly confident at the moment. So this might just turn out like a bad sketch. It's fine. It's a process. First I want to make it look somewhat dog-like, and then I will worry to make her look like actually my dog. It's starting to get a little bit of like German Shepherd vibes, but she is not a sticky. She's not a German Shepherd. She is a Labrador half Rottweiler. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, look at my reference. Hello, Joel, Sketchy Squirrel, so nice to see you here. And Jack as well, Jack Vasberry. I'm sorry if I say it wrong. I don't know how to speak English properly. Reclusive Red Dragon. Hello. How are you going? So nice to see you here. Please let me know where you're watching this from. Recursive. I'm sorry, recursive. I can't speak and I can't write or read. Yeah, I'm just sorry. English is not my first language and I often misread things. It's very embarrassing. Nomad Desktop. It's very fun. It's great. I recommend it. There is just below on the left bottom a link. So if you want to buy it, it's right there. I think it was a bit of a soft launch because I haven't seen like a proper announcement even on the Steam page. It was slightly weird. But a friend of mine told me very excitedly last Friday, and I bought it straight away. And I knew I had to show you all. It's looking great. It's basically the same UI as the iPad, which is in some ways good, but it also is very iPad-like. I feel like it might need some slight modifications to fit more the PC stuff. And the tablet feels very, very subtle, like I really need to exaggerate my pressure. But aside from that, I am very excited. It might also not be issues with the program. It might just be a me thing. But it is very cool. Red Dragon, I'm gonna say Red Dragon so I don't keep messing up. That you started sculpting 4 days ago. That's so recent. I hope you have a fun sculpting time. Sometimes it can be frustrating, but it is also very, very, very cool. And are you sculpting in Nomad? Are you using any other tool, or maybe doing it by hand? Dude, the 3D is from the Philippines. Hello. Yeah, this schedule is a lot more friendly for this side of the world. I am in New Zealand, and yeah, very, very close to the Philippines. And we Red Dragon from Wisconsin. Cool. Oh, I see, Red Dragon. You're using Nomad on your S25. Oh, cool. Yeah. How do you find it on the phone? I've only really used it on tablets, but I haven't tried with the smaller screens. It's, I don't know, almost looking like a dog. I still don't like it, but I'm just gonna keep going, maybe trust the process or accept that sometimes things don't turn out well and we'll try again some other time in life. Okay, I'm gonna do the ears with my favorite tool. I still cannot speak. It's okay. Wow, now it looks like a bunny. It will eventually look like a dog. I'm just looking at some reference at the moment to try to get the shape right. I think it's pretty cool that you can try the free Nomad version, because you can just have fun without committing, and then if you really like it, then you can go for it. And there's other tools. Nomad is my favorite, but it's like there's plenty of others out there that are slightly less complex, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because sometimes it can be really overwhelming. Or if you really like Nomad, like I do, I just would say go for it. It's such a good investment. I don't necessarily think it's cheap for everyone, but in the scale of software prices in general, it is pretty accessible. Oh, that's right. There is no ZBrush on any phone. I assume that ZBrush is only on iPad, but not necessarily for like iPhone. I haven't thought about it. Blender, I know that it's in development for the iPad. I don't know if there's gonna be any support for other stuff, but yeah, that's also true. I'm thinking of iOS apps for sculpting, but they are not necessarily also available for Android or for phones, and that's another positive thing about Nomad. How about that? And do the 3D. Next time, can I request also for you to do a triplanar video and hard surface as well? I'm using Nomad too, but already because of your video. Oh, because of my videos. That's so nice. Thank you. I will try. I don't normally use triplanar, to be honest, in my workflow, but I can always experiment, see what I can come up with. For hard surface, yeah, I was recently working on a character and it has a mask, and I did a lot of like booleaning with it, like making a lot of pieces that later I just like squashed together. So maybe that's something I can explore in a video. And this ear has a lot of resolution. I'm gonna decrease that. Maybe a little bit of post subdivision. This is a trick that I like. If I lower this a lot and then increase the post subdivision, I start to get rounded shapes. We'll show you again. Oh, these dialogues, yeah, they're like super old pop-ups. I think that needs a little bit of work. Sometimes I don't see them and it's annoying. Cancel. But anyway, I was saying, if I increase this number and reduce post subdivision, it's all very square. So I use this a lot. Decrease the topology, increase post subdivision, and I get some nice organic shapes. Very lovely, very pretty. I don't think this is in the correct placement of the head. I might need to twist this slightly. Whoop, whoop, maybe. Yeah, I think so. There's a little bit. I mean, I have the dog right behind me, so I could look at her. Hello, dog. She's trying to sleep, but I'm talking, and she gets annoyed, but she's the one that decided to come to my office. Oh, Jack is working on a Labubu sculpt. That's cool. I'll be curious to see how you handle the fur. That's always fun on sculpting. Red Dragon does not care for Apple. That is totally fair. They are a very questionable company, and I don't think they're doing as many cool things as they used to back in the day. I wish Cura was on iOS so I could go straight from sculpting to printing. I have not tried. Honestly, I haven't done too much on 3D printing, just like extremely basic stuff. When I was teaching at a university in New Zealand during COVID, my husband and I stole the 3D printing machine, the 3D printer. Because it was COVID, no one could use it, and that's when I got to play a bit with it, but after that I have to give it back. And I haven't really invested in one. I don't think I have a good excuse. I have a friend that can print stuff for me if I really need to, but I mean, I still would be interested in looking into Cura. What does Cura do? Is it like oops, sorry, I hit the microphone. Is it like to get the file ready for 3D printing, or can you do any kind of editing there? I am curious. Alright. Almost looks like a dog. You guys can tell me. You peeps. You all. Does it look like a dog? I am more than happy to hear your feedback. I usually sketch things in advance to kind of like get a feeling for the volumes, for the shapes. Try to keep it simple, but you know, like a breakdown. And I was just really excited to jump into the live stream to show you. So I didn't do any prep. Very professional of me. Alright, so Cura it is for getting the print ready for printing. Nice. Yeah, it would also be cool to if there was like a bridging, a more natural way to bridge the sculpting apps or like the editing apps into 3D printing and not be like, okay, export and then move on to another app. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like there are some times in which you can have like a nicer transition and it makes life slightly easier. I don't know, like go Z on ZBrush. That can be useful to just jump straight into Maya or Blender. Oh yeah, it's starting to look a little bit like a dog. Maybe I'm not so terrible at this. Thank you, Red Dragon. You look very much like a dog. That is very kind of you. Now I need to start getting the likeness. And in case you missed it, I'm gonna show you real quick. This is my reference. These are some illustrations I did for a talk last year. So now I want to get like this stylization. We'll see how it goes. Look at her! And it is based on my dog. She's so pretty! Look at her cute face! Alright, enough dog. Now that I look at her, I can see how it's not quite there yet. Your skills are good for 3D printing. In my Node S9, I'm using Nomad to print something in 3D printer. Oh, thanks to my tutorials. It's so cool, the things that people create. I'm very humbled by all the amazing stuff that people have created using the tutorials. I'm glad that they enable people to make art, to have fun, to experiment. No, the dog is booping me. Hi baby, what do you want? We already went outside. She boops me aggressively when I'm working. I have my arm and then she goes boop, and because she's a very strong dog, it's impossible to ignore her. So now I am patting her with one hand while I attempt to sculpt with the other, which will stop working as soon as I need to rotate the camera. Okay, that's enough scratches. Let mom work. And for the Labubu Jag, you're only sculpting the face, hands, and feet. Oh my god, that's so cool that you're gonna sew the body together. Nice, I like it. That's very smart. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to jump my brain between making sure I am reading your comments and whatever this dog is, this stylization. I think I need to make this thinner, this part thinner, and I'll make this slightly wider. Over here. This is gonna look a bit dumb for a second, or for several seconds. Yep, still looks dumb. Almost doesn't look dumb. I'd love to hear about other projects that you guys have going on. And if you are a lurker, just watching silently without talking on the chat, please say hi. Tell me where you're from. Where are you watching this? What time is it in your part of the world? I am currently in New Zealand. Pretty New Zealand. And it is 3:30 p.m. And spring is just starting. It's beautiful. Flowers everywhere. I was gonna do this stream earlier and then I got distracted gardening. I go really manic gardening sometimes and then I get really tired and die for the rest of the day. Roxanne. Juan Roxanne? Am I saying that right? I'm gonna call you Juan because I know how to pronounce Juan. Hi! And Jack is from Western PA, USA. PA. What is PA? Sorry, I can't remember much. Is it a state? I'm sorry, I don't know what is PA. Oh, Juan is in New Zealand. We got 2 New Zealands. Pennsylvania. Psh, I should have known that. What a silly person I am. I think I like better the first design of the dog that I had, but maybe it's working. I don't know. We'll see. This is a sketch. It's fine if it doesn't work out. It's 11:30 a.m. in the Philippines. Oh yeah, slightly earlier than in New Zealand. Juan, you're in New Zealand. Are you gonna go to NZGDC in Wellington? I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna do a talk. I'm gonna talk about iPads and using iPads for game dev stuff, for creating game assets. And I'm gonna, of course, talk about Nomad. I will talk about ZBrush as well, but we all know that Nomad is my true love. And ZBrush is expensive. Okay, what I'm trying to do right now is to get the stylization of the dog based on the illustrations that I've got. It might not work. I might have to redo it because I don't just want it to look like a generic dog. I don't know. There's something about those illustrations, but those are also very 2D, so they may not necessarily work on 3D. Oh, Juan, you are gonna be there! That's so exciting! What's the name of your game? I'll make sure I'll go and try it. And thank you for going to my talk! Well, for planning to go to my talk! Yay! It will be fun. It's the Game Developer Conference that happens here in New Zealand. And it's a nice time. It's a nice excuse to go to Wellington. I try to go anytime I can. This is only the second time, but I try to go whenever it's possible. Because there's a very nice Mexican restaurant in Wellington and I like to go and visit. And you know, the conference is also nice, I suppose. But I can go for free with my company if I do a talk, so that's cool. We like that. Blackthorn's Manor. Alright, Blackthorn Manor. I'll make sure to remember. I will look for you, and if you see me before and I haven't been, you can go and annoy me and I'll make sure to go and try your game. It's so exciting. What is the game about? Without spoiling too much, since I'm gonna see it there. Like, what style of game is it? What genre? That's another fun question for you all, guys. What do you like to play? Do you play games? I been playing Alan Wake. I am not playing anything mainstream or new because I am an old lady that finds hard to keep track of everything new, and I take a long time to do games. But I picked up Alan Wake and it's great, and I'm close to finishing it. And I really like Remedy stuff. And Sam Lake, of course. He's a very fun guy. It's a horror puzzle game. That's really cool. Are you gonna do public demo outside of NCGDC? Or like, what's the plan if there's other people on the chat that would like to have a look? How can they find you? This stage of the sculpt is a little bit repetitive. I know that it looks like I'm doing the same thing over and over again, but this is probably the most critical part, because I am trying to get the main volumes right. I'm trying to get like a good relationship between like the big shapes, and I could just say, yep, this is good enough, I'm gonna move on to details. But details are not gonna fix things. If there's anything that does not work at this stage for these big volumes, I'm just gonna carry this problem around, and it's gonna get more and more difficult, especially the more topology, the more resolution that I add. So I try to stay in this relatively low poly version for a good chunk, and just try to solve as many design issues. Right now I'm trying to blend more naturally the snout with the shape of the skull. And yeah, Nomad feels good. Still just like that slight weirdness with the pen that I feel like I need to add too much pressure for it to feel alright. But yeah, that's fiddling around with it. It's not the sort of thing that you can just go boom boom settings, that's it. It's a lot of, does it feel right? Let me play for a bit. Okay, I'm gonna try this now. Nope, it doesn't feel well. Yeah, maybe. So yeah, I don't want to get too excited with that right now. Just want to sculpt. Sculpt, sculpt, sculpt. Cool, you have a Steam page out. Feel free to post the link in the chat if it lets you. I don't know if YouTube will complain about it, but otherwise, people, go and be cool and check out the game. I will have a look as well, and I will wishlist it, because I know that is very important when creating games. It helps a lot to wishlist. That is very, very, very exciting. Yay! You are very cool, Jack. I would love to hear more about this game. How long have you been working on it? Is it a team that is working on it? Are you a solo dev? Tell me more. Tell me stuff. I need to speak or the live stream becomes kind of boring. I think that's what I've been told. I need to talk and keep it, I don't know, entertaining, because just watching may not necessarily be that cool, especially when this is a very repetitive task. I think I messed up the ears. Undo, 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 undo. Undo, 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 undo. Yeah, I was trying to make them a bigger, but maybe I'll just use the good old gizmo. Haha! Yep, that was the answer. No, they still need to go a bit more over here. Dog, 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 dog. I'll tell you a story. It's not related to sculpting or Nomad, but it's about my dog. And that's cool. I have a friend who is a horse trainer, and she was on a show recently. She was, I think, teaching a class. So in this horse shows, there's like, it's like a mini competition, like to make sure that you can do the things that you were trained to. So if you're a beginner, it might be very simple, like I'm just trotting with my horse and the horse is trotting and listening to me. And it's very casual, at least that specific competition. It's more like a picnic, and you can take your dog and look at nice horses, and they do a nice like little amateur dog competition in which you go through a jump, you run with your dog, and then you jump, and then you trot, so you're like running in a circle with your dog, and they are rating if your dog has good manners, if they're like pulling away. And then the last one was the trick. And I'm a very obsessive dog mother, and I've taught my dog so many tricks. She can bark on command, she can like orbit around me. If we are in a park where there's obstacles, she likes tunnels, and I tell her to go to the tunnel and we can be on the other side of the tunnel of the park, and she'll go and run into the tunnel. So I've learned everything on YouTube. And so we entered the competition, and the first two categories we didn't get even 5th place, and I was like, oh crap, maybe I'm not such a cool dog mother as I thought I was. But then we won the trek competition and she got a ribbon, and our time was running out and it was time for the horses to return, so they were kicking us out. But as we were leaving, one of the judges approaches and told us that she thought our dog was the best, and she gave us the champion ribbon, and my dog was declared champion of all dogs, and it was great. She got free stuff. And this is why now she needs a sculpt. She'll be forever immortalized. Maybe I should 3D print this. That's a good excuse to try Coda and to learn what that is all about. Okay, she's starting to look a bit more like herself. Sorry, I got distracted with talking about dog. Himanta, I'm sorry if I say that wrong. Himanta Barik, how did you learn all this? It's a loaded question. It's a big question. I went to university and I had 1 semester where I learned ZBrush. I hated it back then. It was a combination of things. My teacher, he's a really good artist, but at the time he was more focused on the career than teaching. He actually left mid-class, well, like mid-term, to work somewhere else and started teaching us online. This was way before online teaching was a thing. It was like through Facebook, and it just was not great. But anyway, the point is that I didn't like sculpting back in the day. I took his class, I learned like the motions of ZBrush, but after that I just stopped doing it altogether. And in general 3D I was not super big on. I kept learning some 3D stuff at school, but I did mostly 2D at the first years of my careers. It wasn't the pandemic when I got when I didn't have a job, like most people, and I got into YouTube with my husband. He's the one who started the channel, and then I joined in and stole all the glory. And I found Nomad, and he told me do videos about it, and I was like, oh, I guess. And at the time there were not too many videos about Nomad Sculpt, so what I did was go back to learning ZBrush and translate that into Nomad. This is a very long answer. There's some really cool tutorials by an artist known as Red Beard, like the color red and beard, you know. And he's got a really cool process. He does very similar things to myself, as in he works in low poly and then he starts increasing more and more the topology. I think that is a very clean way to work. I know there's people that like to start with high poly. I think they're psychopaths. No, I just find it more difficult to control. Much more difficult to control because it is a lot of polygons. I'm gonna show you real quick. Like, I'm gonna increase that, yeah? And I'm gonna make like something intense. And if I wanna smooth that, it takes me ages. Look, it's being passed, and I still haven't quite fixed it. But if I go to a lower resolution, the smoothing is a lot more effective. The same goes for tools like Move. It's a lot more effective to control the larger volumes if I am working with low resolution. So this is in a nutshell why I like that process. So yeah, Redbeard was really big, those tutorials. I think it's on Gumroad. It's like a character sculpt tutorial. Michael Pavlovich was also great. Again, this is like ZBrush people, but what I was doing was translating what they were doing into Nomad. Maybe the tools are not exactly the same, but the tools doesn't really matter as much. It's really more about the technique. You can have a super expensive fancy brush made of the fanciest hair, but if you don't use it, if you don't know your basics on how to work with volumes, how to work with light, how to sketch, it doesn't matter if you have the most expensive tool, you can't do anything. And you might as well have a very, very, very cheap pencil. But if you know how to do, if you learn the basics, if you learn how to draw, if you learn how to sketch, if you learned how to simplify things, you can do amazing things. So that was my approach, learning Nomad. Stealing things from ZBrush, but focusing on basic skills, on what was my fundamentals, what were the things that was giving them good results, appealing things. If that makes any sense. Sorry, long answer. Hopefully that kind of helps. It's been a long process. I've been doing it for many years. I stopped for a few years during that time that I was only doing 2D. But I was still doing a lot of art, and many of the principles of 2D, of design, still work here. And I made the head a bit too big. Sorry, I'm trying to get more volume on the skull at the back. My dog ran away, so I cannot look at her. Yeah, she does have a bit of a square nature because she's half Rottweiler. She has that square skull. She has like the sweetness of the Labrador, but if she gets very serious sometimes, like if she heard something on the backyard and she's like, oh my god, work mode, she'll get serious and somehow go really square. So now I gotta get that of her personality here. Cute squareness. Jack says that Nomad is my second attempt at sculpting since 3D Studio Max, like 20 years ago. Sculpting on 3D Studio Max. Yeah, I've never tried it. I would say Nomad is a lot easier. I don't know. I know that there's people that sculpted in Modbox, but I really like the feeling of the the pencil, of the Apple Pencil and the iPad. And I know that there's plenty of people that are like, oh, but Apple sucks. And yes, they do suck. But there's something about the iPads which is quite good. Photoshop and the Wacoms used to be the standard tool for digital painters. And when Procreate and the iPad came, a lot of people switched. And sure, Photoshop and the Cintiq or Wacom in general are very chunky tools, and the iPad don't outperform them. But there is something about the experience that they offer, and that's what I like about Nomad. And Agatha, is it worth to switch from ZBrush? This, I mean, I can never just say like yes, switch. That's the definite answer. There's a lot of it depends. If you are thinking price-wise, like if you're thinking about paying a subscription for ZBrush versus paying Nomad, I would say Nomad, hands down, because Nomad is a one-time payment and you get so many tools, and it's not as robust as ZBrush, but it is pretty good. And most of the things that I use from ZBrush are already here, and there's a lot of features being added. You might really love ZBrush, and that is fine. You might find it weird to adapt to it, which is absolutely fair. You can always try Nomad for free. I had beef with ZBrush. I never liked it from the start. I use it even though I suffer. And ZBrush kind of made me fall out of love of 3D when I started. And I found my love to 3D again in Nomad. But that is my experience. I know plenty of people love ZBrush. I can only say try it. It might be for you, it may not. But it's definitely way cheaper. The face looks weird. I mean, yeah. Oh, it's almost been an hour. Just looking at the comments, it was weird going from a thick Wacom to the Apple Pencil. Yeah, I agree. This feels a lot more ergonomic. My first Apple Pencil, I added like a little thing, so the grip was nicer. But now I can't because it doesn't fit for charging. That was for the first generation pencils. Annoying, but I guess that now I'm just used to this thin pencil, but I still think this is a nicer thing to grab. I do like, though, just the way that how natural it feels to paint or to sculpt in the iPad, though. Didn't some ZBrush people made Nomad? I am not sure. I think it's a solo dev. Maybe there's a little bit of extra help from other people for Nomad. And I forget the name of the tool that he worked with. So Epic nowadays has Fab, which is like the Unreal marketplace, but it used to be called something different. It's similar sounding to Fab, and it was like a marketplace for 3D. If I understand correctly, the Nomad dev was working there. And then I don't know for sure if he left that to start working Nomad or was doing it on the side. But that is my understanding of what he was doing before. I'm not sure if he did work on ZBrush. However, there is a tool that we have in Nomad. I guess I can show you. Oh, maybe not, because I don't have it on the computer. Well, anyway, it's this tool called the Quadrimesh. This is known in ZBrush as ZRemesh. The person that wrote the ZBrush one also wrote the Nomad one. So, because it's a very useful tool, it's amazing. This is something that I recommend if you are looking for slightly more control on the topology. it is great. I don't have it here because I need to buy a separate license for using on my desktop, but I did buy it on the iPad. I don't know if there's anyone else maybe that worked on ZBrush that was related to Nomad, but this is what I know. I'm sure that we can ask around on the forums and get more information. That is always cool. Yeah, I'm kind of missing this like escarp that is happening. Still weird. My poor dog looks weird. The eyes are buried now. But yeah, starting to feel maybe slightly more anatomically not correct, but like that complexity of the skull. Skulls are difficult. But I need to look at weird angles like this, because this doesn't quite look good to me. And I need to figure out why does it not work from this angle. What am I not getting? Is it like maybe this needs to go forward? Maybe that like cheek? Yeah, that's something cool. Sort of. Maybe I need to define more like the yaw line. Yeah, I do. This would have been actually a really good time to show you the quad remesh. So I'm gonna force a little bit. My polygons are getting a bit stretched there, which is not my favorite. I guess I could always like voxel remesh with low resolution. Let's delete lower. I'm gonna do this. I need big squares. Remesh. I don't know if this was a great idea. Slightly higher. Maybe? Remesh? Well, just run with it. I'm pretty sure that if you make the brushes in the iPad, you can bring them into the desktop version. In case anyone was wondering, I was just looking at the brushes and remember that is a thing. And let's get rid of the solo. Yeah, this needs to get thinner for the neck. Okay. I'm getting it. I need to increase this intensity because this is killing me. I'm gonna destroy my wrist trying to put more pressure into this. Alright, though, it's almost being an hour, so I will be wrapping up pretty soon. Don't forget, if you want to check out Nomad for desktop, there is a link at the bottom there left. nomadsculpt.com/alt. It's pretty cool. There's a free version you can try. There's also the WebAssembly if you want to test it, if you're unsure. It's relatively cheap, $35 US. Cheap compared to ZBrush, cheap compared to Maya and most software out there. So I recommend it. I think it's great. I personally will use it more than ZBrush. But I don't blame you if you are not like me. If you like to give all your money to Maxon, that is all up to you. Oh, we have some cool information here. Akun Reach says, Jack, before Nomad, the dev created Sculpt GL, a browser-based app. Oh, neat. I didn't know that. Is it still around? I should investigate. It's very impressive what he's created with Nomad. It's been around for more than 5 years now. I can't believe it's been that much, but it has been that long since the pandemic. That's when I picked it up. Alright, I'm gonna leave it here. Woof woof. Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you for chatting with me. Thank you for sharing some time of your evening or whatever time it is to check out how this is looking. I hope you're excited. I am very excited. And we will see you very soon. And yeah, bye bye.